Hi everyone, welcome to another Timeform preview of racing for tomorrow as we speak now, and that's Friday's card at Ascot. It's the first day of an outstandingly competitive long walk meeting, and the long walk itself on Saturday features a much anticipated rematch between Paisley Park and Thyme Hill, who have another crack at each other after their meeting at Newbury. Haydock's another Betfair supported card on Saturday, which will attract a lot of interest as well. We're going to go for these tips to Friday's card at Ascot, and we're recording now just after midday on Thursday, and already the decks are out for Saturday. That's absolutely tremendous, but I do think we've got three potentially good bets on Friday as well. And James Davies is with me, and he's got two of them. I've got one, and I'm going to hand over to James for the first on this Ascot Friday card. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, how you Dan? The first one comes in the 12:45 at Ascot, and that's Chazza. I think this horse is interesting here on the line that he beat Landinabo Lad in a banger bumper. So his current mark of 124 looks pretty lenient, judged on that run. Albeit it was in a bumper, and now we are over hurdles. That Landinabo Lad's contesting a grade 2 later on the card. And onto his form, the form of his latest run at Leicester has worked out pretty well as well. The winner, Breathin Boy's gone on to land a competitive Cheltenham handicap. The third ran well at Taunton. I think he finished second or third again. So the form has a bit of substance, even though I do take Leicester form with a bit of I don't always trust it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, that's fair. When there's a massive track bias going down the outside.
Exactly. I'd always tend to forgive horses bad runs or be more forgiving at Leicester than other tracks. But yeah, I just think his odds of 9-1 hills are up. There's only 2 up. I think that's pretty fair. He is going after in this race, probably fight him off from the front. He's going to just have to keep fighting him off, fending him off, which might be tough in a field like this. But I think his odds are definitely worth a bet. I can't say I've been through all the opposition with a fine-tooth comb. But yeah, I just felt, and also with his Leicester third, it was a test of speed, and the final flight was omitted, which I didn't think did him any favours. He was quite big out, which suggests he had plenty left. So I think a step up in trip and a good attitude will stand him in good stead, even though it will be hard to dominate a field like this.
Yeah, I do like these Bailey horses on bad ground, because their fitness and their know-how tends to set them apart in a lot of races when you're dealing with experienced horses. Hopefully, Chester Williams, obviously it's conditionals race. We can't have David Bass, which would be preferable, but Chester Williams is claiming 3 for the stable. I'm going to go for one that's likely to be a much shorter price, but doesn't mean that means it's significantly less good value, and that's Everglow in the next race, the 120. It's quite a simple case to make. Now, I will caveat it with the belief that Nichols on the Dime can win a race, and any worsening of the ground, and it's already testing, will definitely suit that horse, because I think he wants a thorough test of stamina. I'd be most interested in him, though, when he goes over 3 miles, and possibly when he goes chasing. And in Everglow, he meets a rival anyway who's probably just going to be a bit too good for him. The hole in him potentially could be the trip, conversely, because there's a bit more speed in his pedigree. But there are some stayers on the dam side too, and it's very hard to knock the level of his form so far. 2 good runs in bumpers, including a listed placing, and then obviously having reappeared in the Persian War, trying to do what his stablemate Thyme Hill did the season before, win it on hurdling debut. He left that well behind when he was second at that track again. So he's been to Chepstow 3 times now. Chepstow tends to get testing ground. That's just the sort of place it is. So I'm not concerned about conditions by any means. And when he went to Chepstow last time, he ran into a horse called Stargate, who we all saw obliterating them in that grade 2 Winter Novices hurdle at Sandown a couple of weeks ago now. it's not just it with Stargate either. There was more depth to that Chepstow race. Horses left, right, and centre from behind the front two have come out and given it a boost. And frankly, it looked a short price horse with the stable in better form even now, following a break. He looked a short price horse who's probably just going to win. Of course, Nichols on the Dime is a runner, but he lacks the potential and the quality of form of Everglow. So that's my odds on shot. Sticking my neck out as usual. And I'll pass back to James for one of my favourite races in the calendar, probably my favourite race in the calendar. These novice handicap chases, I think they're always of real interest. And you've plucked one from that 155, James.
Yeah, I have. So it's nice and simple. All the races, 1, 2, 3, first 3 races at card. But the one I've gone for here is Editeur de Gite. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's back on softer ground and back at Ascot. And I think that's the angle I like here. At Newbury, he displayed a high knee action. He hit the ground hard. So for me, I'm fairly confident that he's going to handle these softer conditions and may even improve for them. His penultimate run at Ascot over 19 furlongs or just short of that. He got into a good rhythm out in front, jumped well. And that form's okay without going overboard. The winner ran well at Newbury off £10 higher. The third, Smarty Wild, you'll probably remember this race down at Wetherby. If it had jumped maybe 2 or 3 of them right, it'd have won the race. Won. Yeah, so, and the fourth, I think, finished second at maybe Warwick Fontwell. So there's a bit of substance to the form without going overboard. And at Newbury, I think it's worth remembering at Newbury, the ground was rattling quick for that weekend. And he was up against proper good ground horses like Elusive Bell and the Nichols horse Heritage, which I think is better on the sounder surface, even Zoffy to some extent. So I could see why Josh Moore was anxious about making it a bit of a test. And he was back down in trip from the just short of 19 furlongs at Ascot on good ground. So I think it was easier for them to pick him up that day. Whereas here, back on softer ground, and as I've mentioned, he hits the ground hard. I feel that he could, if he gets the fractions right out in front, I feel he could be hard to peg back. The other thing to say about this race is I think there's not a great amount of pace in it. I mean, you've got Enzo Dairy that'll probably be up there with Sir Valentine, and Numitor led at Foss last, but I don't think he'll have the pace for these. And that was on really testing ground at Foss last. And he's gone up £7 for winning a race that I think fell apart. Mac the Man, yeah, his Sandown Hurdles form last season's rock solid. But he's going to have to take a good step forward, I feel, from that chasing debut, and he's going to be ridden as my earpiece falls out. He's going to be ridden towards the back, or that's how he showed his improvement over hurdles last season. So I can't see them changing. Phlegmatic, Carlisle form okay without going overboard. Thought he got a good ride. Yes, he was hampered at Sandown, but you try and put these horses in a pecking order, and I think Sir Valentine and Mac the Man and Editeur de Gite are all better horses than Phlegmatic, and I'd still have some concerns. The one, as I mentioned, Sir Valentine, actually, I do think he is interesting. Both his chasing runs this year suggest a mark of 133 should be within his grasp, and I felt he did jump better at Wetherby, but that jumping may just cost him, and that does swing the vote in favour of Editeur de Gite for this race for me. So
yeah, I was at Wetherby that day, and he ended up having a hard race as well because Keelan Woods had to get after him to try and get back in the race. Yeah. Ballistics won since. Ballistics a very good novice, but trying to go with him might have left a bit of a mark. And I agree with you. I like the front running angle around Ascot's chase track. The stiff fences, demanding fences. If you can get into a rhythm, you just put so much pressure on the others. It can break a race apart. So good cases there, Jimbo. That's our 3 for Friday. All at Ascot, first 3 races. So that shouldn't be too hard. And as I always say, whether you're sticking with what we're saying or you're going with something else, very best of luck on Friday. And we're back here tomorrow, albeit a different duo, to preview an amazingly competitive and interesting weekend of racing, particularly Saturday, which should be absolutely superb. So good luck, everybody.